see, Valentine's is good for you, no?
It's supposed to be.
All right, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, thank you a bit. Good morning, everyone. Happy to be here. My name is Allan Brian Ssembajjwe. I am many things, but currently.
Shit. Sorry, Brian, you're muted. Can you unmute?
Yeah. Someone keeps muting me.
Sorry, that's my error. Please continue.
Okay, yeah. So I am an accountant by training. Though my first degree was in quantitative economics, and then I worked in accounts. I also did ACCA, so I trained as an accountant. And then I went into business. So the business I currently run is a wedding planning business. And I tell people that I'm a wedding planner, they say, how can an accountant turn into a wedding planner?
Sorry, Brian, let me interrupt again. Could you put on your video? Because, yeah.
Oh, there are people who don't know if I'm very appropriately dressed, but let me try.
Yeah, that's okay. Please continue. Yes.
Okay. So I did, like I said, I did accounts, but currently I run a wedding planning company. But in all honesty, it's a tech company. We are building an online tech platform that supports weddings. So think about perhaps a combination of, should I say, Airbnb and Uber for weddings. So that's what we are doing for now. And yeah, I'm enthusiastic about entrepreneurship. I am really keen on innovations in Africa. Hopefully we can enhance the investment market, anything really around tech in traditional markets. For me, that's something I'm quite zealous about.
How did you move from accounts to wedding or wedding planning? That is such a weird shift.
Yeah, so my journey as my career, for example, when I left university, I joined as an accounts assistant at one of the insurance companies in Kampala. Then I joined an audit firm. So I worked as an auditor for about 3.5 years. Thereafter, I left audit and became a full-time accountant with various organizations. And then along the way, I discovered that I really liked entrepreneurship. I think at that time, I also worked as a finance manager at Enterprise Uganda. And it's there that my mind was really pushed towards entrepreneurship. I saw young people build businesses. We used to train people in Northern Uganda, train people in Western Uganda. We used to go across the country to just see what people are doing. And I think it was like a eureka moment, if I'm to say. I just thought to myself, this is the life I want to live. But also, I spent lots of my younger years in church, to be specific, KPC. It's now called Watoto Church. So I got to see so many people get married. People have, of course, as you'd imagine, it's a church. It brings in so many kinds of people. So you would see people who had the money, they would just throw the money on the table, and then their wedding is done. Then, of course, you would find those who are middle class, just getting out of school, make some money, and then all of a sudden you have some money. It's not a lot, but it can make you a decent wedding. Then, of course, there were some who are struggling. But for me, in all those times, I would somehow, today I'm treasurer, another day I'm the chairperson of the wedding committee. I would say the challenges were similar. The people struggled to get vendors that were reliable. Sometimes vendors would disappear, they don't turn up. So it was a combination of what was happening in my career at that time, that is the business side, and the entrepreneurship element that was beginning to crop up in my psyche, but also what I was observing then. I supported so many weddings that I got to a time where I was almost like a chairperson for hire. People would just say, Allan will handle that for you. Hey, you call up Allan. So it became a big part of me that when I thought about doing business after my contract at Enterprise Uganda had elapsed, it became the automatic thing to do. It just, for me, it just began to make sense that I should do wedding planning. But of course, then I was just thinking the traditional way, put your profile amongst your friends, do the simple things, tell them, hey, I plan weddings, I can help you, run around, book for you venues. But then a thought occurred to me that if I did it the same way everyone was doing it, then I would miss the what? I would probably not make it big. So that's how I began thinking about innovation. But I think we shall talk about that a little more. But that's how I ended up in wedding planning.
Yeah, okay. How was it in the beginning?
In the beginning, like I said, I think for me it was largely about interest. I was interested. I like weddings. It's funny. I just had my wedding also recently, but I like weddings. I enjoy them. I like to see people happy. I like to see people. It's probably, if it's not the best day of some people's lives or most people's lives, it's one of the best days. They are their best. They are happy. They are peaceful. They are dreaming big. They are hopeful. So it's like you get them in their best element if things are not going wrong. So when things are when I believe that when I come in, I make sure that things don't go wrong. And yeah, so the interest, the joy of watching couples satisfied. Then of course, yeah, when I used to do it as a hobby, it was easy. Now when I began doing it as a business, I realized it's actually tiresome. You go downtown Kampala and you are booking suits and you are booking gowns, and then you go to several venues before a client zeroes down on one. Yeah, so I discovered it's tiring, but also it's actually rewarding, really, really rewarding. When you complete a wedding and it goes well, the couples are really, really happy. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, today we have Allan Brian. He'll be talking about how he's running a tech-driven business in a traditional market. You can introduce yourself in chat, what you do, who you are, your contacts, and as your questions pop up, you can just put them in the chat and we shall address them a little bit later. So Brian.
Yes, please.
Before we go to the tech side, how is the gender play in the wedding planner business? Isn't it a female-led business? And if it is, how you handle it?
I feel marginalized already. I'm in a space of, interestingly, so I have discovered over time that this whole gender, whatever, is in our minds. Because people think that because ladies generally sort of seem to enjoy the details of weddings more than men, then it's more of a women's business. I kind of agree and disagree at the same time. I agree because to a bigger extent, ladies are more invested in the details of weddings. And I said details because, yeah, they will want to know which flower it is, how is it done, which typically men wouldn't. But also I disagree because yeah, and this, I hope I don't hurt anyone, but my experience has been that the men who are service providers in the wedding industry tend to be more committed and tend to do a better job than women. And that's my experience. Of course, yeah, I would imagine people would disagree. Some people would disagree, but for me, that has been my experience. When I work with service providers who are men, we sit and discuss, agree on something, and they'll give you the best. Women, I tend to find myself pushing them a little more, trying to, sometimes they change their minds on things and then change them to the way they feel suits in that case. And sometimes that's not what the client agreed. So yeah, so in a nutshell, yes, generally women tend to be, there tends to be more women in this business, but men tend to be more, should I say, tend to be better. If I say better, maybe I'm not choosing it. How can I put it? Let me say better, because I failed to get the English word. They tend to be better at their work.
Okay.
So I'm not entirely marginalized. There are some men in the business and they are doing well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you start mapping your tech business on an industry like this and its intricacies? How did you move from doing the traditional to tech?
Okay, thank you, Abby. So maybe let me give a bit of background. So when I finished, when I completed the work I was doing, and I knew at Enterprise, and I knew that I was now ready to start my business, one of the things that I did is that I went around Kampala, seeing what wedding planners were doing. Some were already online, so I checked out their profiles. I saw what their profiles looked like on the different social media sites on Google. I also went around. I would ask people and they'll tell me, oh, there's a wedding planner here. So I would go and visit. I asked them what they do, how they are going about it. And for me, in my mind, I was just thinking, how can I improve what they are doing? How can I improve what they are doing? And I began creating a database of providers for different things. This was around 2016. And when I was creating that database, I was just thinking, how can I make use of this database with minimum complications? I was just thinking about how to ease the process of accessing vendors. So around that time, also luckily, I got a scholarship to go and do a master's in the United Kingdom, and the master's was in innovation management and entrepreneurship. So in the essence, I told myself, by the time I finish this master's, I should have an innovative way of running the wedding planning business that I have in mind. So during my entire stay of doing that master's, I spent about 2 years. I was just thinking about how can I be innovative? How can I make this business easier? How can I make couples suffer less in looking for vendors? How can I make vendors more reliable? That was what was going on in my mind the entire time I was doing school. And of course, I was imagine an innovation management course. They would have things around service design. They would have things around technology-driven businesses, high-tech businesses. So I was intrigued. And in that process, I just started adding components of technology to already an existing concept, because wedding planning was already being done by people. But I was thinking, how can tech enable, or how can tech push this designing a little, make it a little better? And that's how my transformation started, from having an idea and then seeing how can tech enhance it. So that's how I began the journey.
We keep talking about your platform. What is its name? How can somebody access it?
Okay, so the platform is called Nyom Planet. I can see, I'm trying to look for the names here who can understand what Nyom is. I don't think there are many, but Nyom is a Luo word for marriage. And
Okay.
Nyom, if you have been, some of you who have perhaps married in the Luo culture, the Lango people, actually, it's very, very animated. And we thought it was a short name. We thought it would represent Africa or Uganda in that case. I wanted to build an African brand. So I chose a name which I thought represents marriage. It's easy to remember. And then, yeah, that is African. So Nyom Planet. Nyom is N-Y-O-M. N for neutral and M for money. N-Y-O-M, Planet. So once you go to Nyom Planet, you are able to see the vendors that would give you a service, and you're able to book them directly.
Is
No
it an
matter
app?
where you are in the country.
Okay. Is it an
Yeah.
app? Is it a website, or it's a combination of both?
So currently it's a website, and we are in the process of working on an app, but also we are assessing the need for apps. Recently, we were doing a survey and we discovered people tend not to download apps which they are not going to use forever. So it's something that we are observing carefully. But for now, it's a website.
Oh, okay. So when you started, so you built your own database, was that in Excel? And how did you start moving on to a website? Where do you get the programmers from? Where do you get the developers from? Was it expensive? Was it a problem? How easy was it? Do you know how to code yourself?
Interesting. So I started with an Excel database. Like I said, around 2016, I began going around Kampala and seeing who provides what, visiting wedding planners. So I built an Excel database. I think at that time I had about 30 to 40 people providing different things. And yes, I kept building that database. When I came back to Uganda after around 2018, I continued building that database in Excel. But because now I knew that I wanted to build a platform, I asked one of my colleagues that I had been with at Manchester to build for me a website, a simple website, not even one that has a database. And I think he built it using this common software. I'm forgetting its name. What is it?
WordPress?
Exactly, WordPress. So he built it using WordPress, and we put it up simply as a website, but with vendors. We had the database end, we had a bit of vendors. At that time, I think we had about 60 vendors when we had just built it, 60 to 80. As I speak now, we have close to 1,500 vendors on the site.
Okay.
So it has grown significantly since 2000. We built it in 2019. That's when I commissioned the first building of the site in 2019. And between 2019 and 2020, I was just trying to test if people would come. So basically, I was just analyzing that at that time. When people come, what are they looking for? Where do they go? So I spent a year just doing a bit of what you would call testing I think in lean. For those of you who believe in lean models, we were testing to see does this prototype work. We created the prototype in form of a website, and just to assess what was possible. So personally, I'm not a coder. My coding is as basic as it can go, and it's not even in your normal languages. I hear Java these days. For me, I am a person of Notepad. So as you would imagine, I am way behind in programming languages. So I'm not a coder. That's why the first site was built by someone. I commissioned it and I paid for it. Then once we built the site, I decided to begin recruiting young people who could come and work with me. So my first years of working, I worked in an audit firm, And the audit farm model is that they recruit young people from university and then they train them into. So in an audit farm, you'll find people who did Bachelor of Pharmacy, you'll find people who did medicine, engineering, then some of us who did QE. We are all in that same place, even people who did BCom. So the people who are ideally should be accountants are also mixed with doctors. And then you have a whole environment. So for me, that's where I learned that you can actually get people from any kind of field and train them into what you want them to be. So I adopted that model. I recruit young people from university, and then I train them into what we are building. So I recruited some programmers from uni, and then I put them to task. They are usually zealous, they are usually energetic, they are usually out there to, prove themselves. And for me, I feel like that's helpful. So when I recruited them, we opened the office on October 1st, 2020, in the pandemic. And then, they started, we basically threw away the other one of WordPress and we began building again. But first, we first worked with the WordPress thing for about 3 months, just to see its capabilities and also for the person to appreciate what we are doing, where we are going. So then I gave them about 3 months to build a new site that had the capabilities of what we wanted to keep building upon. And that's what the person did. Then I added them some other person to assist them. We recruited another person to assist them. And that's how we eventually started building the database. And now we feel like it's even obsolete. We need to build again using a bit more complex tech. But so that's been the journey to the tech platform.
So you mentioned that you have 1,200 vendors.
Yeah.
Do they pay to enter your platforms? How do they get onto your platform?
Yeah, so that's the interesting bit. We have given initially I would go and visit Serena, tell them, hey guys, we are here. We realize you guys are doing weddings. We want to partner with you. So, if you sign up on our platform, you'll get access to couples easily and blah and blah. And then they would listen to us. They would ask us, how big is your business? We say, oh, we are a young business. We have just started. And then, of course, they would think, you don't need us. I mean, we don't need you. And so we discovered that it wasn't an effective way of getting people on board. So what we did is now we put them on board and then we inform them. So we send emails and inform them that they are on board. If they want the rights to be able to sign up, then it's up to them to click the link that we send them. And that got us into some murky waters a bit with some vendors, but there's not a single business that doesn't want a platform to be seen. Unless, of course, they think you are fraudulent or you could damage their brand. But also we have built a big brand as well. Maybe we shall discuss that a little more. So we have built a big brand. So that means that even us now, businesses are more, we receive almost every week, we receive at least 5 people who are joining the site. And because we have now built a brand where people are happier to join. But in the first instances, we were really struggling to get these people to see what we are trying to build. Some of them thought we were maybe, we wanted to be to commission or something. There was a lot of resistance at the start. But now I think we have people coming on board. So the way people join now is we have on our site, there's a place where you say become a Nyom vendor. Just click on it. It gives you a bit of guidelines. We have created a bit of quality control. You put in the details that we are asking of you, and then you sign up. And when you sign up within 24 hours, we kind of check you out, see where you are located, try to do a bit of background work to make sure that you are not a ghost company. And then, we add you to the site. And then we begin to bring couples that couples that want to do business with you come to you. Some of them come to you directly because your details are online, but also some of them come to us, and then we ask you to join, to come and support them in setting their wedding and giving them the best experience.
So how do couples get to know about the site? How do you, and so do they come to you and you take them there? And also you mentioned something about people are afraid that you're going to charge them commission. So you don't charge them commission?
Yeah, so this is now where the tech, you really need, now for those who are in the tech industry, or for those who are in the traditional industry and want to go tech, this is where your mind needs to be really open. So one of the biggest challenges in the tech, if you're running a tech-driven company, is the chicken and egg problem. So I'll give you an example. With Nyom Planet, we have vendors on one side and couples on the other. So the vendors, typically, they typically want market for their business. So for example, I bake cakes. I want people to come and buy wedding cakes or book wedding cakes with me. I'm a decorator. I want people to do this. I have wedding cars. I want people to hire these cars. So their interest is, give me market. I'll give you, even if it's a commission, I'll give it to you. They're interested in that. But then couples, on the other hand, want to survey all these many vendors and pick out one who is either gives them the right price or makes them feel like they are in the class they want to be for their wedding. So there are different motivations for couples, for a couple to choose you as a vendor, very different motivations. So now we were in that position where we are bridging the gap, but we are wondering, how do we tell vendors that you will receive couples? How do we convince them that they will have couples coming to them? But then also for couples, how do we convince them that this vendor they don't know, they have never heard of, can actually give them a what?
A good service.
A good service. So one of the things we discovered that we needed to do as a business was to say, let's build the Nyom Planet brand. Because if we build the brand, I believe that would attract the right vendors, but also would attract the right couples, or would attract couples. And one of the things we did to build the brand in the initial stages was to market. We had to market ourselves as wedding planners, but also we had to come up with a service that is unique in the market. And the service that we came up that is unique in the market, we are the only business, and this one I say confidently, we are the only business in Eastern Central Africa, perhaps even in Africa, that can create for you a package for your wedding at the budget you have, anywhere in Uganda. Yes, you come with a budget and the guest numbers you have, and we tell you that based on your guest numbers and your budget, and maybe your location, if you say, I want my wedding in Fort Portal, these are the possible providers, and those providers will be there to actually give you that service at the price we have set. So that kind of attracted so many couples to the site, even though some were not willing to buy, they were not yet sure, who is this, what are they doing? But they would come, they would ask questions, they would send messages, they would kind of build all kinds of different things. And eventually we began to be a brand that is recognized in the wedding market. Right now, as we speak, like I said, we have the highest number of vendors in Eastern Central Africa. But also, we have used the data that the vendors give us, harness that data to then create packages for clients that they can see. Like they can evidently see that I can do my wedding with ease based on the budget that I have. So building a brand helped solve that chicken and egg problem. Not solved fully, but it helped. It got the vendors to see, oh, we can associate with these guys. And then the couples began to see, oh, these guys have something they offer us that we don't have, or is not there in the market, which is different from traditional wedding planners who say, what is your budget? Of course, even them, they work with the budget, but then they will think, you will sit with them, there's no variety, they have their own food provider, they have one food provider, they have one decorator. If they have many, they have maybe 2 or 3. But here we are telling you, you have, for example, we have 300 venues on the site right now. You can select from any of them around Uganda, Fort Portal, Mbara, Mbale. We have vendors all across the country. So that variety, the concept of variety, giving people options and choice, also helped enhance the brand among couples.
You keep mentioning Fort Portal. Is that where you found your bride? And
Abid, you come from Fort Portal, so please. Fort Portal is a tourism city, and it has been, when we were first building, it was one of the first cities that we decided to enter because people want to do destination weddings in Fort Portal. People want to do honeymoons in Fort Portal. So yeah, it's one of those first cities that gave us an opening into what it means to do destination weddings. And because some people think a destination wedding has to be in Zanzibar, it has to be in Mombasa. Fort Portal has excellent venues for destination weddings.
Interesting, you should say that. I also used to do this stuff, and I organized a few honeymoons in Fort Portal. And one of them was where the couple refused to leave the hotel. It was like a nice little home somewhere in the hills. They're like, we're staying here the entire honeymoon. We are not leaving. We're not leaving the compound. But it was nice. So also now, given that your site is open, isn't that opening you up to competition from your other fellow wedding planners? And until you lose, does that mean that you lose your edge?
Yeah, so that's an interesting thing. And of course, yeah, we face competition, we face all kinds of things. But one of the things that I believe, if any one of you in the audience is working on building a tech company, or you are trying to add tech to your business, tech in itself is not a magic bullet. It will not solve all the problems. For example, we still have challenges of vendors not turning up. We still have challenges of vendors not doing the work that they were told to do. Those things cannot be changed simply because you have a tech platform. I mean, you have heard of Facebook. There are people who are impersonating. Someone tells you they are this and then they are not, and then you meet them through all those things. Facebook, Tinder. People turn up and they are not the people they say they are. So that one is a given. So even as you think about adopting technology, don't think about it as what solves all your problems. On the other hand, think about the systems that you build within the business. And this I need to be really, really keen. Maybe I should say this at this stage. Any business stands on 5 pillars. And those 5 pillars are known. Strategy, you need to be, the entrepreneur in the business needs to have a thought process around what they are trying to achieve and how they're going to achieve it. Then there's operations. They are the day-to-day operations. For example, for us, when couples come in, how do we talk to them? How do we select the vendors we take them to? Those things. Then there is human resource. You need employees. You need people who you are going to work with, whether they are permanent or they are part-timers, whatever. You need people who are going to support you in building that business. That is the 3rd pillar. The 4th one is finance. You need to manage your finances, the petty cash, the books of accounts. You just need to really have a way where this is what I earn, this is what I spend. It's just automatic. Otherwise, you won't compute profit, and business is about profit. And then, of course, the 5th is marketing. You need to market. So it is strategy, it is operations, it is marketing, it is human resource, it is finance. So those 5 areas are needed in every business. Every business. In fact, if you falter in any direction along those 5, your business will wobble. It will be slanted in a way because you have not covered those 5 areas. Now, those 5 are typical of every business. Now, what technology does is to support you in making that, in building those 5 easily. So, for example, in finance, if you have an accounting software, say Tally or QuickBooks, then it has made it easier for you to put in all the information there, and it analyzes it for you. So you can have your profit and loss by just downloading. You put in the information, it gives you your profit and loss. In that case, technology has just supported you in making your process of analyzing your data easier. If you're on Facebook and Twitter, then your marketing is easier. You just put in your car photo there and you say, this is Nyom Planet, we are building this, and then everyone who follows you will see it, and perhaps they will like it, and then someone else who follows them can also see it and like it, and so then it rolls. So what technology has done for you in that case is to push your marketing or make your marketing easier. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is that if you're thinking about technology, don't think high tech. I have to build something like, for example, what we are building at Nyom Planet, a fully digital company. No, think about it as how can I adopt a certain technology to support some of the functions, the other 5 functions we talked about in my business. How can I enhance my business with the help of this technology? So now, for us at Nyom Planet, we are keen on building those 5 principles, those 5 elements, pillars of business. I have trained a team that supports me in human resource. They know what we are doing. We have a strategy, a 3-year strategy that we keep building on. We have a culture. We have values that we have adopted. So in the essence, even though this platform, for you, what you see on the outside is the product of the culture inside. So we believe competition is there, and we believe there are people who are probably even better than us, but no one has the culture that we have built within the organization. No one knows exactly where we are going with what we are going. Maybe they know where we are going, but they will not go at it the way we are going at it. So for us, I think, for me, my focus is on making sure that what we have as our vision and the strategy we have laid out to achieve it continues to seep into everyone who joins the organization. And that way, competition may see what we are doing. They may even copy it, but we are building a business. We are not building a product. So ultimately, if we continue building the business, the products will come and they will always be better. So we are not afraid of competition in that sense. But of course, yeah, we do assessments. We see who is doing what. We pick a few ideas here and there. But putting out ourselves there, we believe that is a way of attracting customers. And if we stay focused on our strategy and our goals, I believe that we will still stay ahead of the competition.
Okay. Let me just go to chat and pick out a few things. Martin is from Kiruhura. He does honey and packages of 100 grams, 250 and 500. You can find him on those numbers. Thank you, Martin. Harriet Susan Adong is here. Mugiri, Aturinda Beatrice. Nantongo Josephine is a doctor and coffee farmer. Please throw your contacts in chat so people can find you. Welcome to Christina. I think one day we're going to have Christina to present, because she has been very consistent here in the Business Recovery Series. She runs Sanyuka Square Recreation Center, the dream venue outside Kampala. Where outside Kampala?
That one is a potential partner.
Yes, that's what you should.
Does her place have space for weddings?
Christina, tell us. Christina, are you able to unmute?
She can type in the chat.
Or you can type in chat. Yes, but I have actually done a visit to Sanyuka. It does have space for weddings.
Oh, nice.
A very nice garden and good parking.
Nice.
This is not a paid advert. I've just been there. Stella Siko is a CS Freight Consult. Does import and export. Thank you, Stella. She has put a contract in chat. Now we have a question from Martin. Specifically, how do you generate revenue?
Okay. So, like I said, we are building a tech company. We have not yet monetized. So our income right now comes from purely planning weddings. So when the couples come to us, we charge them a fee for planning a wedding. But in future, what we intend to do is we intend to get revenue from ads. The site is big enough. So people who want to advertise on the site. I'll give you a quick example. We receive at least 2,000 people a week visiting the site. So we believe that if vendors run ads on the site, then even if we charge $1 per ad for about, let's say of the 1,500 that we have, even if, let's say 10%, the 150 run about 10 ads a week, we are still making about, anyway, let me not get into the math, but yes, we want to run ads. We want to run people who want to have enhanced profiles on the site. In other words, you want yours to be visible. We want to do that. Then we want to also have what would be like a commission element. Each time a couple or someone finds a vendor through the site, we want to be able to charge that. Our biggest challenge right now is the security around the site. We are still building the security element before we add the APIs for money, because as you would imagine, it gets tricky with sites of our kind. Yeah, so we are not yet into the actual monetizing of the site, but hopefully by June this year, we shall be there. But right now, we are making money through wedding planning and sometimes commissions from vendors.
That is a very interesting approach that you're taking, because I find that a lot of people rush into building their tech platforms to try to get money as soon as possible. And as I listen to you speak, I realize that's where maybe some of the mistakes they make, because if you're putting there a way of people to do for money to pay, then you have not thought so much about the security, and you may end up losing money.
That's true.
It's like what you have put ahead is the brand, to build the brand first, and then think about how to generate the income.
Yeah, the other advantage as well, right now, people are actually accessing all the services for free. So in essence, you can say we are building the profile. So people come, they check out the vendor they want, they book them, they go away. People come, put in their budget and their guest numbers and their location, and it shows them potential vendors in that place. They note them down, then they go away. Some, of course, some prefer to reach out to us so that we can give them advice. Sometimes we tell them, okay, for this advice, the information is already on the site, but if you want this advice, give us 100K. Some are willing, but most Ugandans are not. So so we are sort of still traditional, but we actually, the elements that we want to charge people for on the tech side are already on the site. We are just trying to get the site to be able to accommodate the monetization, which is online. That's what we are now working on. It's the more expensive bit, it's the more technical bit, it's the it's the more complex bit, but we shall get there.
Okay. Then, yeah, Anne says interesting concept, well done. Martin is actually the most active in chat. He agrees with you, says thanks. Tech is not a magic bullet. Basics of business are universal. Thank you for the insight. Mwanguzi Isaac says, thank you, Brian. I like your advice and what you have done in this business space. You visited my business for health check, and now I'll never do the same.
Yeah. Nice. Nice.
Christina says she's driving. She'll get in touch. Now, Akampuria Martin has another question. If you have a question, you can always put up your hand in chat. You can always put up your hand, and then we shall select you. You can talk, or you can put it in chat, and we shall be able to answer that one. Martin says, many of us have ideas, but challenge is building a business around the idea. What do you talk about? Martin, can you unmute and maybe give more clarity on your question?
I hope this is the Martin I know.
I can put it on Martin. I don't know.
Yeah. I thought it's Martin Chigos. Martin Chigos seems like a familiar name. I think we're in school together or something.
Martin? Okay, maybe he's unable to unmute. Okay, so anyway, so his question is, I think we should focus more on building the business and the product. So I don't really understand what his question is there. That's what I was asking.
Maybe let me clarify something. I said in my presentation that focus more on building the business than the product. That is very key. You see, like I said, the pillars of building business remain the same. It is strategy, it is finance, it is marketing, it's operations. You can build a very decent product, but if it is founded in a business which is not able to support it, the product will fail. In fact, I was so shocked. I read one of these books by actually Steve Jobs' autobiography by Walter Isaacson. And one of the interesting things he says, Steve Jobs himself, he said, people talk about Apple's products and they say, oh, we built iPhones, but our biggest innovation was building an innovative business. That's what he says, Steve Jobs' words himself. And I have read it around Warren Buffett. He has said the same. I think heard Mr. Chichi say the same. So the most important thing if you're building, I have heard someone say they are dealing in honey. Market your honey, package it well, but don't focus on the honey per se. Focus on building the business that will keep that honey coming out of that. Like sort of think about it as what are they called? Those mills, sort of like a belt for honey. Like the honey will come out of it if the structure itself is good. Think about it as a family. If you say, I want to get my child to be excellent and what, but then at home, TV, everyone watches TV, everyone does whatever they want. In other words, the environment in which the product comes from is perhaps more important than the product itself for sustainability purposes. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Hello.
Hi, Martin.
Hi. Good morning.
Good morning. Abid, I think you're muted.
Good morning, Martin.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, this is Akampura Martin from Chiruhura. I'm the proprietor of Ubuntu Bee Farm, and we deal in selling of honey, pure natural honey. So my question was, many of us, we start ideas, we start on projects in 1 to 6 months or 1 year, we close up and we leave business. And to my realization, the biggest challenge is how do we do the business? How do we promote our products? How do we market? how do we sell, how do we handle finances when we get challenges, how do we deal with the compliance issues. Like for example, me, when I try to reach some supermarkets, they tell me you are not registered,
UNRS.
Yeah.
you don't pay taxi, we don't know you. For us, we deal with the people from such challenges is what is instigating me to ask that question. Most of us, we tend to say, this is high tech. If I use high tech, I can easily make it. Two, so you realize that we have the ideas, we have where we can start from, but progressing and moving to the next level is becoming a challenge. So that's why I wanted him to help us and understand more how best can we learn to do business more than saying I have the best product, but sales are not coming in. Thank you.
Okay. And Brian, before you answer, I'm also seeing Rene Manger has a similar question. Rene says, what business do you build minus promotion or product efficiency, frugality, and effectiveness? Rene, do you want to say a bit more about that? Let me see if they're still on.
Okay, let me try to answer because I think our time is running out. So Martin, one of the things that I keep telling the people I work with at the office is that when you ease the work within the organization, actually for us, because we are running a tech company, I keep telling them that technology is supposed to make our life easier. If it makes it harder, then we are not using it well. So in your setting, what you need to do is to make the processes within the organization easier for you. Once the processes within the organization are easier, then it becomes easier to serve the client. And that's where tech comes in. Tech most of the times makes work easier within the organization. So within the organization, if communication is easier, if work distribution is easier, if whatever it is that needs to support, for example, you who is in the beekeeping business, if honey collection from the hives becomes easier, if packaging it becomes easier, if conserving it becomes easier, if all those things are made easy, then the process of releasing honey becomes easy. You understand? So one of your goals should be that internally you make life easier for you and your staff. And by making life easier, I mean make the processes of production, of finance, of procurement. I don't know if you have been to organizations where the procurement takes 3 months. You have worked with government organizations. You want to buy, say, a laptop, and without it, you can't work. It takes you 3 months to acquire it. There you have already, if you're in the private sector, you have killed your business. You can't work like that. So internally, the processes need to be easier to be able to then serve the customer. It becomes easier to serve the customer when internally the processes are quicker. Now, when you go out, after you have quickened the processes internally, when you go out, it becomes easier to say, okay, how do we work on this? How do we embed this in the system? So in terms of sustaining businesses, in the things that you need to do, for me, it boils down to what they call a business model. Today I didn't come to discuss business models, but your business model should be able to enhance the product you are selling. It should be able to, it should make, in fact, it boils down to what I was saying, it should make it easier for you to sell and promote the product. For example, if you're in the beekeeping business and your honey is natural honey, you are marketing it as natural honey. Your thought process should be, who consumes natural honey? Or who would ideally consume natural honey? It will be the pharmaceuticals. It will be people who are not well. Maybe people, I think sometimes they advise people to get off sugar but remain on honey. It will be people who deal in confectionaries. So your question should be, should I supply supermarkets or should I supply a place like Cafe Javas, which requires honey, a lot of it, at once. So if you create your business model around, I will only supply, let's say, big hotels and restaurants, then you are not going to get into the trouble of, I have to put things on the supermarket, which requires UNBS certification, which, by the way, you should try and get, because then it enhances your product, can export them and all those things. So the point comes down to, what do you want to do and how are you going to go about it? That is where the strategy and the entrepreneurship part comes in the 5 pillars that I mentioned earlier. It boils down to you and how you're going to approach the market.
All right, thank you, Brian.
I hope I have answered this question.
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Jafar says, very opening, happy to learn about the tech side of business. Manuel Safari says, thank you. Okay, thanks for the timely tech presentation. To the rest of us, let's make your life easier by ensuring your personal projects with this domestic package insurance, as explained in the brief video link. Thank you, Emmanuel. And also, Emmanuel, you should drop your contact for people to get in touch with in case they want insurance. Jafar shows more light. He's like, can you please throw light on the use of tech in a school business?
Okay, all of a sudden I'm a tech guru.
Wow,
like I said,
you are running a tech business, so you are a tech guru.
Hopefully. But I think in a school setting, like I said, the overall goal is really to embed tech in each of the 5 pillars. So in a school business, for example, if it's possible you want to standardize, say, the teaching aids, you could put them in a database within the organization, such that when the teachers come, they know your approach, especially in private schools, they know how to teach. Maybe using aids and all those things, you put them in a database, in a computer. The other, of course, is things like, I think I saw someone build a system recently, which combines all these elements. One of the things in schools is that the inventory sometimes is not managed well. How much sugar do we have stocked up for the kids? How much posho do we have? How much beans? You want to be able to have, if you are, for example, the HM or the principal, you should be able to have all that information on your fingertips. And how do you do that? I feel like tech will help you. Each time posho leaves the store, they log in and they put in how it has left. I mean, how much has left and who has taken it. You get to know. So then you can reorder at the right time and be able to spend money just in time. Then the other way I think you can do, I talked about the aids, the materials that you need in teaching. You can put them in a database. I've also talked about the inventory side. The other one is also know your children. I think this is used a lot in banks, know your customer. Some of your children may have tracking how they perform, may help you know how to support them better. Because if a child who has been performing well from S1, S2, all of a sudden in S3, they are getting average marks. If you have that information and you are monitoring it, it's easier to say, wait, what is happening to this kid? And then all of a sudden you will realize maybe you need to talk to them. You'll find out maybe their parents are separating. So basically, in a school setting, I feel like if you gather a lot of information and you analyze it, it will help you to do what? To support your students, but also your staff better, but also, of course, manage the other things like the toiletries, the food, and all those inventory items that are used in a school setting. Of course, even accounts, QuickBooks can help you manage your accounts in a school. Who is paying, who hasn't paid, all those things.
Yeah. Also, maybe add on that, you look at your processes in your business and see the tool that can be used. And also get the people you work with to show them that you are not trying to get these tech things to replace them or to get rid of their jobs, because then people will defeat them. But if you show them that you just want them to be more efficient in their jobs and do their work better, and this could also maybe lead to better salaries, people will be able to embrace it.
Yeah.
So also another thing with tech that Brian has been hitting about is that the most important person in making sure that tech works, okay, the most important factor is the people. So somehow people you have to make sure that they sort of buy into it by showing them how it will be useful to them. And there you go to get, even they'll start suggesting for you tech stuff. They're like, I know somebody in another organization, this is what they use. Maybe we can adopt it. That will help a lot. Okay.
Yeah, maybe also to add on that, it's something that I have not said that I think I always want to say whenever I have sessions like this. As an entrepreneur, your biggest goal is to build a team that will execute your vision. That's your biggest goal. And the vision is to build the business. So if you get people, all you need to do is to drill down that vision. Keep showing them how far they can go, what it would mean if they got there. If you envision them, you empower them, and you let them fly, even you will be shocked by what your own company can do, and what people will think, oh, this brilliant man. Yet in the actual sense, the real brains are the people who do it on a daily basis. Just envision them and empower them.
Okay. Well, Safari has put more details. It says, thanks a bit of Pesa Smart Fame. Well, thank you, people. Yes, I do have a financial literacy game called Pesa Smart. Makes teaching of financial skills very easy.
Moderator.
Yes, please.
Can I chip in briefly before I go offline?
Okay, please go ahead.
All right. Let me thank Mr. Brian for really, for this insightful presentation. However, my inquiry is on one issue mainly. Is it the product quality that comes first, or is it the systems establishment that comes first? I thought, for example, if you have a good school, you should focus on the quality of product that school is putting out in terms of performances. Then other issues will come in place afterwards. After establishing a good ground, you've gotten some good number of students enrolled on, and then you start focusing on these other issues. But I don't know what advice AB can come up with. But I thought it's literally much better to start with quality of product you are rolling out, and once you have the good clientele base, then you can focus on the systems in place to make life much easier, as he said. Otherwise, I thank him for putting this to the public and sharing his experiences. It's good, very important for the young business people to have something to look at and have hope. Otherwise, in Uganda also the rate of business failure after the first year is quite high. So when you look at people like Brian, if he has come up with something at a quite tender age and is persistently pushed onto the market, it's surviving, it's growing bigger, never mind the rate at which it's, but in the long run, it's surviving. That's a good thing to look up. So I would seek his advice for personal or even for other guys out here who are online, for the practical bit of it. What is say? I thank you very much for the presentation.
Okay, thank you, Rene.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Rene. Thank you for that question. I think ultimately it is about thinking in the long run. I think you should. They say start small, think big, but start small. I think that's what it's about. So I like to play around with this question to just turn it the other way around. If you are going to have children, do you first have children and then rent a house? Or do you rent a house and then have children? The thing is that whichever choice you decide on works. But then it boils down to you as a person. Some of us believe, have an environment already created for them so that when they arrive, they are at peace. Some other people believe that, then why do I create the environment when I haven't seen the what? So I feel like in that sense, it's a chicken and egg, but the delicate balance is very important. I need to emphasize that. If you are thinking long-term, you can't say, let me start with the product and then go out and build systems. I feel like, whereas I don't think I can directly say, no, start with the systems and then build product, or start with the product, then build systems. I think it's a delicate balance. I'll give you an example of Nyom Planet. So we started by commissioning a website. When we commissioned the website, what I wanted to do was to test, are Ugandans willing to use technology to plan their weddings? That was my goal. And I wanted to see how many people visit the site. When they visit, what are they looking for? How many reach out? You get, that's what I wanted to do. And in that sense, I started with the product. You understand? I tested the product. I realized, oh, the market is actually willing to receive it. Now, that was for 1 year, between 2019 and 2020. When I discovered that the market was willing to receive it, then I had to build systems around it. So in the sense, and the systems have been built consistently, but also the product has since been refined over time. So it's a delicate balance, but I insist, don't go all the way thinking, let me build a product, because I read somewhere, and I think this is true, most businesses die out of success than out of failure. Like they have more demand than supply. If you have not built systems to support the products that you are building, you're going to build a brilliant product. People are going to love it. And then they come and ask you to supply them tons. For example, a Camperia Martin who is in honey. You're going to build a very decent product. People love it. And then they come and say, can you supply us 1 ton every week? Then all of a sudden you realize we cannot do that. We cannot do that. Why? Because your systems can only give you, let's say, 200 kilograms every week. And yet, if you built the systems, you would easily multiply that 200 into a ton and be able to supply it. So it's sort of a chicken and egg, but my advice is, try, there's a delicate balance that is needed. Try to build these two things at the same time. But what I know is that decent products don't sustain themselves if they are out of systems that can't support them. That is my experience, being a business development expert over the years, but also reading around some of these businesses that have failed.
And also practicing your own business.
And also practicing my own business. True.
Yeah, Brian is one of the business experts available to Uganda, available through Enterprise Uganda. The Enterprise Uganda has a program where you're given a complimentary business health check, where an expert like Brian comes to your business and thinks with you through how to improve your businesses. This service is complimentary and it is free, and the link has been posted in chat. So you can just apply, and you may be one of those coming to get a business health check and expert advice from people with experience and knowledge like Brian. We shall take our last question from Kelly Taremwa. What advice do you have on navigating a competitor that duplicates your product? I sell sanitary towels, and another company changed its products to look exactly like ours and went ahead and copied all the branding, all the word on our brand. Also, how can one use tech in such a business? Those are actually two questions.
Wow.
Yeah.
First of all, Kelly, I commend you for the work that you're doing. I think Santarita was, in my experience working in northern Uganda, I think sometimes when we are in Kampala, we are really naive about some of the challenges that some of these school-going girls have. So I commend you for doing work around that. I know it's a business, but it's commendable work. Then I'm so sorry for you for the competitors, but welcome to business. That's what business is about. Your product will be, someone will copy it and even make it look better. And all of a sudden you think, why am I in business anymore? But I think I hinted on this earlier. It is so easy to replicate products. So easy. That's why I don't believe that competing on product per se is the best idea. And for me personally, I think it's better to compete on business, building a sustainable business. And yes, sustainable businesses are built on products, but a lot more goes into them, like I said, the 5 pillars. So my advice would be on competition. Try to be ahead of the competition. And that seems so easy to say because it's cliche, but do not only be innovative on products, be innovative on service. For example, if they are producing a product that seems like yours, first of all, they are actually legal whatever. I hope there are lawyers on board who can help us with that. There are legal remedies for that if you want to pursue those. But outside that, my advice would be innovate in other lines. Innovate, for example, on service. If for them, they just produce the product, for you, do you deliver, for example? If not, if you're thinking in terms of innovating around these pads, if they are using these ones that are disposable, maybe you can create the ones that are not disposable. I mean, that are reusable. If, for example, they are shaped in a certain way, can you make a different shape? Can you? I think there are ways that we beat competition, and there are number. You can beat competition on product. You can beat competition on price. You can beat competition on service. There are innovative ways, and yeah, you know your product better than I. So I probably can't give you much advice on that, but I think outside the box in that sense, and I'm sure there is always a way. Then in terms of introducing tech in your product, like I said, there are 5 elements. In fact, maybe I should conclude with this. So some of you may be thinking, but for you, your business can be put in a tech. Mine is so traditional, it cannot be put in a tech context. There are 5 steps in including technology in your business. The first one is adoption. For example, if you buy a computer, one of the things you have done is adopted a new technology, which is a computer. Now, you can use it to type, you can use it to create memos. That is adoption. But then there's enhanced use. You can say that now that I have a computer, for example, the way we are using it, I'm using it to communicate to people. That is enhanced use of technology. That is, you have bought a computer, but you have gone ahead and used it in a more advanced way. Then there is the interactive. The interactive is the 3rd stage. Can you use computers, for example, or can you use technology, for example, to reach your clients? If you have visited our site, we have a small, tiny message box where you can send us a WhatsApp. It's directly linked to our WhatsApp phone. So in that sense, you are using the technology to interact with your customers, get feedback, inform them of new products. You are using it as an interactive tech. Then you can also use it as transaction. again, maybe I should repeat from the start. You can adopt. Adoption is the first stage of using technology. You buy the gadget or you buy the service. Then there's enhanced use. You begin to manipulate that product or that service to support your customers. Then there is the interactive. You begin to get feedback from the customers. What are they saying about the product? What is new? Then there's the transactional. Transactional means that now you're using that technology for people to pay. They can use Momo, they can, all those products, all those facilities are available on your site or on your in the technology you have adopted. Then there is the final one, which is digitization, where the company is fully digital. Everything is run. You never see anyone, any member of the company, like Facebook. You don't know who works for Facebook, except if you have interacted with them separately. But everything that you need is there. Airbnb, same thing. That is the digital company. That's what we are actually trying to build, though we have started traditional. We want that you are able to do all these things without our input. So for you who is asking, Kelly, look through your business and say, at what stage do I include technology? Or at what stage should I add? For example, in building those, in the, what is it called? The pads that you build and put into the market, are they designed using technology, for example? If you are checking their proof, I mean, I've seen the adverts where they show you that if you pour water in this one, it is better than this one. Have you tested? You use technology, for example, to test. Maybe that is something you could adopt. And if yours are shown to be more waterproof, then that is a competitive advantage in the market. Are you using it, for example, to enhance sales, to know which markets, if you analyze the data, who is consuming them more? Is it in schools? Is it Northern Uganda? Is it Eastern Uganda? That helps you then to know, no, I'm going to focus on the Eastern Ugandan market. Is it NGOs that are purchasing them on your behalf? Then if I have UNHCR on board, can I also bring maybe FAO on board? You understand? So that it is you to assess at what level your business is, or what operations and processes in your business need to adopt technology, and which specific technology do you need to adopt. For example, for us, we are thinking about artificial intelligence. How can we use AI to make sure that the customer experience, if someone comes on board and they checked out venues of a certain kind, say hotels, if they checked out Africana, can we then use AI to tell them, oh, people who checked out Africana also checked out Silver Springs, also checked out Mestil. That is AI. Now, for us, that's the level we are at. For you, perhaps that's not what you need. So you need to assess your company, where it is, the needs it has, and then you know which technology to adopt for it, for that stage, or for the processes that you are running. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you, Brian. I will also add a bit of advice to Kelly. If it's branding, you can always go to URSB, register a trademark. And this trademark means, and also your colors and what will be, it will mean nobody else will to use the same branding as you if you have registered it. And if they do, you can always sue them and seek legal redress. This is actually working in Uganda. There is a person in Chikubo. They were making a curry powder, which was very popular, and somebody got their branding and copied it. This person went to RSB, registered their branding, and when their person insisted on continuing the same thing, they sued them. They actually made more money from branding, from the payment
suing them.
they had made themselves that year. So actually works. You can, as well, if you have a lawyer, just ask around, they can do this process for you. Thank you very much, Allan. Thank you, everybody. There's something from Rene who left, who says why enterprise provides promising new areas. It's because everybody has a different business idea. and you cannot dictate to people what they should do, because it would actually limit innovation. For example, what Brian is doing under Nyom Planet, you may find if you dictate, such innovations don't come up. So everybody, thank you very much. The business health check is there. Brian, my key takeaway from you has been just innovate, just put tech at whatever level you have in the business and enhance it. Thank you very much, Brian. And how can people reach you? Please put your contact and your website URL in chat.
Okay, let me do that right away.
And give us your last word, and then we.
Okay. Yes, I've put my my office line in there. I can be reached anytime. It's now in office. I'm still at home, but I should be able to get it as soon as maybe in about an hour. Yeah, so thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share with fellow entrepreneurs this journey. It's usually a lonely journey. And yeah, when I get it, whenever I'm given a chance to share and to hear some feedback, yeah, I'm encouraged. Maybe my final tips for anyone who is on here: be passionate. So be passionate about your business. Be passionate about what you're trying to drive. Stay focused. Think long term. So don't give up easily. And staying focused sometimes means do a bit of research so that you know that you're in the right business for you at that time, and you can make it grow. Stay positive as well. Of course, things sometimes get hard, but stay positive. We have had so many times where I wanted to close, but yeah, we stayed. So stay positive, stay focused, be organized, and stay organized. Yeah, this is really what I was saying, but if you get those 5 pillars and understand the processes in your business, you can easily organize them, and tech can help you in doing that. Be organized, stay organized. It helps. If you're organized internally, it helps you serve your customers better. Then, of course, my last word is maintain integrity. If you maintain integrity, you will attract credit, you will attract the right networks, you will attract the right customers, the suppliers will be able to trust you. I feel like that's one element that is missing in the Ugandan business context, and we really need to build it back. I think some of you saw an article, was it last week, where someone from IMF, or was it, I don't remember, which one of those big institutions was saying that in Uganda there is a lack. In fact, they use the word a paucity of people who can be trusted, and it was embarrassing to read that at the international stage. As a country, we can't be known to be people who rip off investors or who rip off others. So yeah, maintain integrity. It pays in the long run. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, everybody. See you next Thursday for the Business Recover series.